Diane knew the pain of loss. Her beloved dog, Buddy, had crossed the rainbow bridge, leaving a gaping hole in her heart. The grief was overwhelming. Diane vowed never to adopt another dog. She couldn't bear the thought of experiencing that kind of pain again. It was too much. She would focus on the happy memories. They would have to be enough. Years passed, and Diane kept her promise. She filled her life with other things. She volunteered at the local soup kitchen. She took up gardening. But the emptiness remained. She still missed Buddy every day. The silence in her house was a constant reminder. One day, a friend suggested she visit the local animal shelter, just to look, of course. Diane hesitated. The thought of seeing all those dogs, of potentially opening herself up to more heartache, was terrifying. But something inside her, a flicker of hope perhaps, urged her forward. Maybe, just maybe, a visit wouldn't hurt. The shelter was filled with a cacophony of barking. Dogs of all shapes and sizes clamored for attention. Diane felt overwhelmed. She was about to turn around and leave when she saw him. He was huddled in the back of his kennel, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. The volunteer explained his name was Malachi. Malachi had been returned to the shelter multiple times. He was deemed unadoptable due to his fear and aggression. He had been abused, neglected, and abandoned. His spirit was broken. Something about Malachi's story resonated with Diane. She saw his pain, his fear. She recognized the echoes of her own loss in his eyes. Diane moved closer to Malachi's kennel. He flinched at her approach, shrinking further into himself. She spoke to him softly, her voice gentle and reassuring. She didn't try to touch him. She just wanted him to know she saw him. To her surprise, Malachi slowly crept forward, sniffing the air cautiously. Malachi's past was a mystery. The shelter staff could only speculate about the horrors he had endured. The scars, both physical and emotional, ran deep. He cowered from any sudden movements. Loud noises sent him into a panic. Malachi's trust had been shattered. Diane knew she couldn't erase Malachi's past, but she could offer him a different future. She decided to foster him, to give him a safe and loving home, even if it was only temporary. She wanted to show him that not all humans were cruel. Bringing Malachi home was a challenge. He trembled in the car, unsure of where he was going. He refused to make eye contact. Diane worried she had made a mistake. Was she equipped to handle a dog with such deep trauma? She pushed aside her doubts, reminding herself that Malachi deserved a chance. Section 4, The Power of Patience. The first few weeks were difficult. Malachi spent most of his time hiding. He refused to eat from his bowl. Diane tried everything. She sat with him patiently, offering him treats. She spoke to him in soothing tones. She played calming music. Slowly, ever so slowly, Malachi began to come out of his shell. One day Malachi tentatively licked Diane's hand. It was a small gesture, but for Diane it meant the world. It was a sign that he was starting to trust her. A glimmer of hope emerged from the darkness of his past. Diane wept with joy. She knew she had made the right decision. Malachi's progress wasn't linear. There were good days and bad days. Days when he would wag his tail tentatively. Days when he would flinch at her touch. But Diane never gave up on him. She remained patient and understanding, providing him with the love and support he so desperately needed. Section 5, A Love That Endures. As the months turned into years, Malachi blossomed. He learned to play fetch. He discovered the joy of belly rubs. His fear and aggression faded, replaced by a quiet confidence. He became Diane's shadow, following her everywhere. He was living proof that even the most broken hearts can heal. Diane eventually found love again, this time with a woman named Lisa. Lisa embraced Malachi as her own, showering him with affection. When Diane's health began to fail, Malachi never left her side. He seemed to sense her fragility, becoming even more protective and loving. When Diane finally passed, Malachi grieved deeply. He seemed lost without his person. Lisa held Malachi close, whispering words of comfort. She knew that a part of Diane would always live on in the depths of Malachi's soulful eyes. He may have lost his beloved Diane, but he was not alone. Lisa was there to pick up the pieces of his broken heart, just as Diane had done for him years earlier.